Any Cleveland Guardian fans here? Anybody go to the game on Friday? So on Friday night's game, you went to the game, right? Did you stay to the end? Yes, you did. Congratulations, right? So what happened at the end? We won, right? But it was not just that you won, right? It was like in the ninth inning, the bottom of the ninth, they were down behind. They actually hit the darn ball and they won. Yes? You with me on this? It's not a very complicated story. You with me on this? So on Saturday, Terry Pluto writes for sports for Cleveland.com, right? So Saturday, he writes an article. This is the headlines. Don't be on guard. Guardians. There's a lot to smile about with this team. He says, don't be on guard. There's a lot to smile about with this team. You with me on this? So the gist of the article, if you didn't read it, the gist of the article is, don't try to figure out like how they're winning. Don't try to figure it out. Don't even worry about it. He said, just look at what they're doing and celebrate in those moments. He says, don't try to figure it all out. It's virtually impossible, amen? Just look at what they're doing, and when they do something well, rejoice and celebrate and be glad, amen? And that silly little example, that silly article, don't be on guard, there's a lot to smile about with this team, really gives us good wisdom to try to understand the Feast of the Holy Trinity that we celebrate today. Don't try to figure it all out. It's just, even the scriptures don't kind of like unpack the theological mystery of the Trinity. If you think about the scriptures, they're very practical. When you see these things happening, you know that God is at work, God is alive, rejoice and be glad, amen? The Trinity, many persons bound together by the love of God. God the Father, who created and continues to create and sustain the amazing world that we live in and everything else. God the Son, who comes to redeem and show us the better way. And God the Spirit, that gives us wisdom, knowledge, grace, strength, hope, and truth. Many persons bound together by the love of God, just like us, amen? And don't try to figure out the Trinity. It's a mystery beyond words. But just like that article, when you see God at work, when you experience the Spirit of God alive in your heart, in your homes, and in this community, rejoice, smile, celebrate, and be glad. Amen? And it's a simple piece of wisdom, but one that we can all do well to follow. When you're walking outside and it's a beautiful day, thank God, the Creator. Amen? When you're trying to raise your children and you just give them the charisms of the gospel, just know that Jesus gave us his life for that. Amen? And when you experience, in the second reading, a deeper peace, a sense of hope, or to the gospel, a deeper truth, that is God's Spirit continuing to be at work in our lives. Amen? And so don't try to figure out the whole thing. But when you see God at work, name it, describe it, celebrate it, rejoice, smile, and be glad. I'll give you a couple examples. So for example, on one breath, what's the big deal? Father Bob Wenz is celebrating 40 years. It is a big deal, right? Because by God's grace, for 40 years, he has given his life and poured his life out in service to God and to his church. And God has given him the grace and strength he needed. Amen? I'll give you another example. Last Sunday, 400 of you responded to the different requests for ministries, support, using your gifts and talents. 400 of you. That's pretty substantial, amen? Now the rest of you are slackers, I know that, right? But for today, I'm kidding, I'm not, but I am, right? But for today, we celebrate the Spirit of God inspiring you to use your gifts and talents to build that better world in the Spirit that is Jesus Christ. Amen? So the headline was this: don't be on guard. There's a lot to smile about with this team. And when you see God at work in your life today and in the days ahead, name it, describe it, celebrate it, and smile. When you see God at work, I'll give you just another example because Joe's here. Yesterday, Joe brought his son to the father-son men's breakfast, and the room was full, right? Praise be God, right? When you have those experiences, name it, describe it, celebrate it, and smile. Those are signs that God, Father, Son, and Spirit, is alive, working, and well in our lives, in your families, and in this community. Amen?